are if you are looking for traditional ways of your people and your tribe and you're struggling to do that, pray about it. There might be some people that can help you. Maybe they're from another tribe, or maybe they are from your tribe. But to try to do this all alone, to deal with grief and death, to isolate yourself and try to not to run away from it and to not embrace what's happening, I would really beg you to think about what we're sharing tonight and be open to that there are other ways if you don't already know them. We're going to try to leave a little bit of time at the end. So I'm going to ask everyone if you have questions or comments to put them into the chat. And at the end, we'll open it up for questions and comments. I'm willing to stay on pretty late. I can't speak for Linda or Valentina, but if we want to go later and really flesh out some of the things that you might be interested in or want to talk about, I'm willing to stay on. So with that, I want to introduce, when I first met Linda, the people who had talked to me about her, I was looking for a woman that might be from the Michigan area who would be an elder but well respected. And the people that had talked to me about it, that I had talked to up there, they said, "Oh, you need to talk to Linda Woods." We were working on creating Women in Wellbriety, and as soon as I met her, I knew it. She has a heart of gold. She has a shining spirit. She's beloved in her community. And she has many stories to tell, much wisdom to share. If you ever want to just watch some YouTube videos that she's made, she's got some fabulous ones. But tonight she's here to talk to us about the practice of ghost feasts and ghost suppers. So I will turn it over to Linda with much love.
Oh, miigwech, Cheryl, chimiigwech. Chimiigwech for this honor, for asking me to do this. You asked me about a month or so ago, and then I just kind of forgot about it and went about my daily stuff. But anyway, my introducing myself, Wabmishi Kakwa Dishnakas, Wabshishi Dodem, Pishabi Town, Michigan, Don Jaba. And the other name is Linda Woods. Woods is my married name. And I'm sober. I've been sober for in November. I'll be sober 52 years. But right now I'm 51 years. So which is good. I never knew what journey I was going to be on when I got sober. I had no idea what I got myself into. But what happened was, after many years of being in California, I came home. Home meaning here in Michigan, on my homeland. And then little by little, over the years, I've been home several years now, and little by little, as each kind of time of the year would come up or whatever, then I'd remember things that my grandma did and my parents did and what we did. One of the things that we did do at this time of the year, and in my village of Pishabi Town, there's a Catholic church. Not many of us go anymore, but it's still there. And Grandma always went, and my mom always went. And so we would always have a feast during this time of the year, and on November the 2nd, which is All Souls Day. We would, and I'll quickly go through this. We would make what we call crowns for our loved ones who have passed on, our relatives. And I'll show you the finished product. And then we make the flowers like that. Then we actually, I don't have ears, no. But actually, but there's a process. We start with a red willow, and we make a circle out of it, and we connect it, and then we cover it with this material. It's a white sheet cut up in strips, and we put it around, and it keeps it nice and tight. And then we start making flowers, and it could be like this, and you can just get your creative energy going, and you can come up with all kinds of stuff. And we make these crowns, we call them, for our deceased, because it's a way of celebrating them, and they're happy that we're going to be feasting soon. And for me personally, I'll start getting dreams of like my grandma or my mom or cousins who have passed away, and they're coming to say, we're here and we're hungry. So, and that happened to me after I retired in 2008. I went out to California, and of course, no one does that out there. And then it dawned on me, my auntie came to visit me in a dream, and my mom, and they were just flooding me. And I'm going, what is going on? And then I remembered that they were letting me know they were hungry. So even out there, and I was by myself as an Odawa person, and I thought, well, I'm going to make a feast. And what we do, we call it chipigishka. Like I said, it's that's the only name I know it by. This ghost supper and stuff came later, years. So chipigishka is a time when we cook, and as you know, we love to eat. So many homes in our village will cook all day, and they have their own specialties, or they'll cook their favorite meal for their loved one. And like my mom and dad, they like corn soup, hominy soup, and chili. And then I made somebody, I won't mention her name, Eva, but anyway, I made squash soup one day because she's vegetarian. One time. So I just made soup. I made soup and fry bread and had some dessert, and I kept it real simple. And then other people will throw out a big spread. The whole table will fill up, and people just walk in. And then if people are eating, you just wait until it's your turn. You don't have to stay. I've seen some homes have up to 100 people come by, 200 people come by during the day. They come and eat, they'll eat just a little bit, and then they'll leave. And then they'll be given a tobacco tie, or they'll have tobacco cigarettes on the table, or a bowl of sema on the table, and you take that, and they'll have a sacred fire going. And then you just go out there and you pray for that family's relatives, and of course pray for your own as well. And that's how we remember our loved ones. And I think any of us can do that at any time, actually. If you have a loved one who passed away and you want to remember them, and if you happen to know what their favorite meal is or their favorite dish, just think of them as you're cooking for them, and make them what we call a spirit plate. And you can set it aside, put it outside, or leave it on your table or whatever. What I did in California was I had a little, like an altar with all of my relatives, pictures of my relatives there. And because I couldn't have a fire there, I had candles going. And then and then I invited people that I knew who would appreciate what I was doing. And they absolutely loved it. They thought it was just wonderful that, opened my little 1-bedroom apartment and had people come in. I don't know how many people I had that day, but they just come in, they'd sit and visit for a little bit while they're waiting. And then we set our table like we're presenting a feast. We use primarily, we should be using our good dishes, dishes versus paper plates. But so I would use my best dishes, and every time, and my little table only held 4 people, so I had to only feed 4 people at a time. And so And then someone finally stepped up. My friend Linda Baum, she said, "Oh, I'll help you." So she would help wash my dishes for me while I'm greeting people or feeding people like that. So you need a lot of helpers, I think. You can do it for breakfast. We have breakfast. Okay, 5 minutes. 5 minutes. Oh my God. Um, so there's a lot of things like that you can do for your loved ones. And if it's just you by yourself in your house, fix their favorite meal and feast with them and remember them. And with the and like I said, we use these to as crowns because they were our special loved ones who walked on. And what we do, we have a ceremony out in the cemetery. We go out and we put it on their cross or lay it on their grave or whatever like that. And I don't know if I heard this. Somebody told me that on the first rain, this is just crepe paper. When the first rain comes, these start the colors will run and all that kind of stuff. And to us, I guess that means that they're wearing their feast and they're having a wonderful time. So, so these are good things for us to do, and it's helped me a lot since I've been home. And during the COVID, we've had many, many deaths. Many communities suffered greatly. And so if you want to have a big community feast, that would be a good thing to do, just to honor all of those who passed on and walked on. So I think that's about all I'm going to do. Yes, we met at our culture center. Was it last night? Today's Wednesday. Yeah, last night we met, and all us old Muya were sitting around, and oh my gosh, we were just laughing. So it's not a solemn time at all. We're laughing, we're remembering your brother John and so and just going on like that, and remembering people, and then we get to being goofy and crazy, and a lot of laughter's going on, and then we ate too there. So it's a good time to remember our loved ones, is what I can say. Miigwech.
Miigwech, Linda. You
Okay.
did good. You had 2 more minutes.
Oh, well, let me go here. These are some of the petals that we use. We cut these are crepe paper, and we just make petals, and then we put them on here, and then these little green sticks here like that, and we just wrap them up and just do one at a time, and and fix your flower as pretty as you want to, and like that. But the whole deal is to remember who you're doing this for. And then we'll on November the 2nd, we'll go out to the cemetery and we'll say the prayer. And then all of us who've done this will go out to the cemetery and put their crowns on them. So, okay, did I do it?
You did good. You did good. Thank you so much, Linda. I love the tradition and the ceremony that you've shared with us tonight.
Yeah, and I remember this from my childhood even. And even
right.
the Jibigishkak, I remember that from my childhood. I remember grandma cooking, and I remember going to other people's home. You get mighty full if you have a full plate, but if you take just a little bit, don't heap it. You know what I mean? And otherwise, and then there's several homes here that used to have at different times in November, the first week in November, and different times. And then community gets a list of all the families that are doing that. And of course, with the pandemic going on, not much is really going on. I think separate families are doing it. But anyway.
All right. Thank you so much, Linda. We'll let you rest until we're ready for all the questions.
Yeah, and I had my booster shot and my flu shot too.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I was worried that you were going to pass out on us.
I did pass out earlier and I took a nap. It was like,
oh, I'm so glad you were able to get a booster though. So, all right. Miigwech. So we'll move to the next person on our panel tonight. Valentina Zaragoza is here to share with us her traditions around Day of the Dead and her altar or her ofrenda. And Valentina is a treatment counselor for the White Earth tribe, in the urban treatment program. And really proud of her. I'm going to turn it over to Valentina.
Me, Gwech. Bonjour, everyone. Wingwashki Kwe Indigenous Cause, Ningabia Nudini Kwe Indigenous Cause, Singing Sweetgrass Indigenous Cause, Aji Jokindure, Mikanakwaji Wingandunjaba. Thank you for having me here tonight. I am very nervous, I have to say, but it's an honor. And thank you, Linda, for those teachings that you shared with us. So I'm going to say now, forgive me if I say a lot, because I probably will. So I guess one thing I want to share a little bit is I'm in recovery. So I've been in recovery. I celebrated 19 years this year. And the reason why I bring that up, thank you, Miigwech, is in my substance use and my alcoholism, grief and loss was something that kept me in that cycle, not dealing with the grief and loss in a healthy way. So today in my sobriety and my recovery, I've been able to pick up different tools. And so making an ofrenda is one of the tools that I use today to help me with grief and loss. So Day of the Dead is not Mexican Halloween. There's a misconception and interpretation of that. It is not Mexican Halloween. So Day of the Dead is a celebration of honoring our loved ones that have passed on. My mom Cheryl spoke a little bit about, got some things popping up. The impacts of boarding school and the concept of what was passed down, don't talk, don't tell, don't feel. And in our communities, grieving can be a really lonely, sad thing. When celebrating Day of the Dead, it's the opposite. It's a way of not isolating. It's a way of spending time with your loved ones in the seen world and the unseen world. The tradition, some of the tradition dates back to almost 3,000 years. And so what Day of the Dead is it's a mix of Aztec and Mayan culture in combination with some things that were adopted when Spain came over and conquered Mexico and the church. And I think Linda spoke a little bit about the all days saints, of souls. Yeah. So it's a combination of those two things. So the belief is, and what I'm learning on my journey of doing this, for me, I didn't grow up with a lot of the Mexican culture. I grew up, with Cheryl, learning some of the my Anishinaabe side of things, and so for me, learning about this is a way of healing, but also reclaiming and kind of reclaiming that identity piece, that piece that I'm looking for. So it's a way for me to connect with my father's side and my relatives and ancestors on that side of my family. So some of the things that are practiced during Day of the Dead, the belief is that it starts October 31st at midnight. So November 1st and November 2nd, the belief is that the veil between the two worlds is pretty thin and our relatives are able to come and visit with us. So what families will do is get together and make an ofrenda, or they will visit the grave sites and decorate the graves and sit and have a meal, visit, remember. It's a celebration of the life that our loved ones lived. So it's a really happy time. It's not a time of, I mean, you grieve and you cry in a good way. You let those tears fall, and you do that also, but it's more of a way to remember that we still have a connection to our loved ones, that death is not the end. Um, it's a happiness of that our relatives are in that spirit world and they get to come and visit with us. So um, I'm going to turn my camera around and um, show you my ofrenda. This is something that me and my children work on together, and that's another big thing for me, is that it gives me an opportunity to speak about death with my kids, because we're not guaranteed. We don't know what tomorrow will bring, and so it's really important for me as a mom to have those tough conversations, but I don't want my kids to be fearful. I want them to know, and I tell them, if something should happen, mom will be here. I'll be here. I'm going to come visit you. Of course, that's not what I want to happen, but it's important for me to let them know that I'm going to still be here and we can still connect, that it's not over with. So I'm going to go ahead and turn my camera around still. So there's some variations. I'm finding out that there are, because it's tribal and the region, from region, it varies on how people will do their ofrendas, but there are some um, common concepts. So the marigolds are believed, they're the flowers that are believed to, the scent of them and the color of them is what attracts the spirits to us. Also, I have some copal. I think it might have burnt down a little bit. Copal is the medicine that's used, and it's a sap that comes from, I believe, the Palo Santo tree. And so it's an incense that's burned, and that smell helps guide our loved ones to the altar. I don't have food out yet because I'll start putting that out. Let's see, what's tomorrow. I probably won't put food out for a few days till the second or till the first. Um, but I've included some of Anishinaabe, my Ojibwe teaching. So I have like a copper cup here, and I've got our traditional medicines. I've included tobacco that reminds me of my grandma that passed, and lots of pictures of my loved ones that have passed on. I also include, so for me, so an arch is a common thing that's in the ofrendas, and it's usually done with the marigolds, but as part of my name, sweetgrass is a medicine, and so I use sweetgrass braids as the arch. You'll see there's butterflies around. The belief is that the butterflies are the souls of our relatives that come. And what happens at this time of year is all of the butterflies from the United States and Canada, they migrate down to Michoacan, Mexico. And so it's really timely. And the Aztecs also adorned all of their loved ones with symbols of skulls and butterflies. So that was the belief that those were the souls. And so it's, to me, it's not an accident, right? It's not by chance. So let me see what else. Other elements that are in the ofrendas are having the four elements. So fire, water. I've got a glass of water there. The flowers represent the earth, and then there's these flying papel picados, they're called, and that represents the wind. My grandpa was calling. Some people will do one level. I have 7 levels because what I'm learning is that there was a belief that when our loved ones passed on, for 7 years they would have to travel before they reached the happy, um, everlasting place, the spirit world. And so they would have to go through a series of like tests. And so when you put food out and water out, you're helping them on their journey. Some people will dedicate an altar um, to one person on the very first year and not after that. Some will do it each year. Um, some will do it for specific um, reasons. I met a lady that did one for um, the children that are, at the border and the immigrants that died, trying to make it here. So it's really personal. Let me see. I'm trying to see what else. Oh, okay. So over here, I have this Katrina. She's this. She's a really popular staple or symbol for Day of the Dead, and she actually comes from an artist during the time of like the revolution, and they were making fun of um, like the upper class Mexicans because there was a lot of lower class Mexicans suffering, and so this was a symbol to kind of mock and with like uprising and those kinds of things. But she's become the symbol of Day of the Dead. But I have her here in particular because I have all of my little baby items. So I've got some baby's breath there, and I have my partner's grandma that's there watching over the babies, and I have some little items, a sippy cup. Um, let's see. I think that's about it. So I've got 7 levels here. The other thing that I've put on my ofrenda is I have my pipe here. A lot of ofrendas will have like the cross because of that blend of the Catholic Church and indigenous practices. But for me personally, um, I believe in the way of the pipe. So instead of having a cross, that's what I put down. There are different traditions as far as some people will say on the 28th, you put out 1 glass of water and 1 white flower, and each day you keep adding to it. And that's starting from the 28th to the 3rd is when you send them home. Um, but commonly it's the 1st and the 2nd. And the 1st is the day that the angels, the spirits of the little children come. So food and stuff like that is dedicated to them. And the 2nd is the day of the adults when they come and sit with us and visit. And so people will sit all day and all night. I like to have this up. Last year, my aunt came and she sat and just took some time for herself. Um, as I have her partner, my uncle, here on my ofrenda, and so I offer it for my family to come and just sit. One thing that happened last year, and I was thinking about this tonight, is, and I wouldn't have expected it. I would have expected like my dads to come. Both of my dads have passed on, my biological father and my adopted dad. And so I would assume that's who would come and visit me first. But actually, after I put my ofrenda up last year, I was laying down. It's like so peaceful to me. It's like laying in front of a Christmas tree. It just feels really good. And I was laying there and I heard my uncle, clear as day, his voice, Val, the same way he would, hey, Val, every time I would walk into the house, to his house. So I heard him, and so I kind of sat up and I looked around, and um, it was just a really good thing for me. Um, so yeah, let me see what else. Did I forget anything? I've got some items, like I've got a shaker here that was my dad, Wendy's. I've got my uncle here, and he liked sweets, so I've got an imitation chocolate there. I've got some smokes there, some little miniature food. This was a sugar skull that I did this past weekend. We've got a bowl of salt here, and I think that's about it. So I'm going to go ahead and turn my camera back around. Kind of buzzed through that pretty quick, faster than I thought. So
Well,
I will.
you got 1 minute, Val.
Oh, okay. So I'll go ahead and pass it back to you, Ma. So Miigwech, everyone. Thank you for having me here tonight.
Dear. I loved everything that both of you have shared so far. And the thing that I'm thinking of right now is how common some of the threads are, um, in the practices. I love that that there's this element of, for sure, that we're all tribal people, we're communal people. We didn't do these things alone. We're not meant to do it alone. And so we're always together when we're doing these things. And um and I think I just want to add this before I start my talk, but I think that for our tribe, and I'm guessing most indigenous peoples, uh humor is a medicine to us. And I think the times where my stomach has hurt the most from laughing has been from wakes, when I've been at wakes and we're all telling the funny stories. And so we're crying, but then we're laughing till we're crying. And what a wonderful mix to do that together with each other and with food, and color is so important to our tribal peoples. And yeah, so I see these things. So what I'm going to start sharing is something that some people will have heard me share this before, but I think some people, I did not know this in my adulthood about my own tribe. I wasn't blessed to. Oh, I should introduce myself. Hujo, everyone. I'm Mekwaminsikwe Indigo, Ginuandude, Modawa Zagai Gunning and Donjaba, Gigun Shikamu Dendat. My spirit name means Little Ice Woman, and I'm Eagle Clan from Lakudere, Ojibwe Reservation, Anishinaabe. With our tribe, with the Odawas, where Linda comes from, we're all related. The Odawas and the Potawatomis, we're the three fires. So our languages are almost exactly the same, and I think Crees too. We're very closely related to the Cree people. So, but I grew up in a very alcoholic, dysfunctional home, and did not get to the good stuff growing up. I got what the after effects of historical trauma in boarding school. That's where my family went and came home traumatized, and everyone stayed drunk. And then there was all the abuse and dysfunction that went with it. When I sobered up, I knew that I needed my culture. If I was going to make it, I could just feel that was something that was really important to me. So I was really reaching out and wanting to learn, and right now I think I am 42 years sober now. But back then, I just wanted to learn and to be around the Mindamuyeg back then, the old ladies that would sit around and talk about and share teachings. But when I met my husband and we got married, he was sober, and we were both in recovery, and we were raising our children, dancing and singing at powwows, and going to sweat and ceremony. But what happened at a certain point was that I had we had a lot of kids, and I had gotten pregnant, and it wasn't planned, and I was feeling a little overwhelmed initially about it, and I cried. I was like, oh my God, how am I going to do this? But a day or two later, I was like, I had always had a feeling like, you know what, if this is happening, it's happening for a reason. I'm going to celebrate this baby that's coming. But then I lost the baby. I had a miscarriage. And I thought in my mind that I killed my baby because my initial reaction was not positive. And I felt completely alone in my grief. And so, even though I had to take care of all these kids and change their diapers and feed them, in between, all I was doing was laying there and crying for like a whole month. My husband got really worried about me, and his brother was a medicine man, a spiritual man. And so he asked his brother to come see me. And so Harlan came to see me, and he sat down on the bed and he was looking at me, and I was just laying there crying and feeling really alone and pitiful and hating myself. And he said, Cheryl, we have a ceremony for this. And I said, no, I didn't know that. And he said, yeah, there's a ceremony for this. And it's called a send off. Very, very close to a funeral, very close to a funeral. And now in hindsight, I can see that. But he said he had my husband sit down with me, and he told us, you're going to need to name the baby. You have 4 days from he did a pipe ceremony, and he said you have 4 days, just like you normally would after someone dies. But he said, even if it's been a long time, you can still do this ceremony. And he said, if it's a miscarriage or a stillbirth, or even if a woman had a abortion and it was haunting her, he said, in all these circumstances, you can do the ceremony. And he said, from the day that we start the ceremony, you're going to have 4 days. And we're calling that spirit. He said, we don't even have to call this little spirit to be here, because he said, I'm telling you right now, the spirit of this baby is here. You need to talk to this little spirit for 4 days. You need to name that baby. Pray about it. You have to put tobacco out all the time, all day long, every day for those 4 days. You have to put a dish out. You should have a fire. But because we lived in the city and there was not a place for us to have a fire, he said, at the minimum, have a candle. So I share this with people. If you go get a Yankee candle that's this size, guess how long it lasts if you leave it lit the whole time? 4 days. So that was just a little handy hack I share with people. Other candles, I think, burn faster, but the Yankee ones, they burn slow. So, and he said, you need to make a little tiny, it's symbolic, he said, but a little tiny baby clothes, like a little baby dress, and little tiny moccasins, and a little blanket, because we're going to make a bundle. He said, if you have a piece of the baby, if it was miscarried, or if you have the little body, if it was a stillborn, you keep that in the bundle. But if you don't have those two things, you can still do this. So, and he said, you need to tell that little spirit everything. You need to get everything out. You need to cry, everything. He said, get it out. And so I started, I everything he said, he said, on the last day, we're going to have a feast, and and that's the send off. There was a word in Ojibwe that he called it, and that was the name of the ceremony. And so I cried and I cried and I cried, because I kept telling the baby, I'm so sorry. Even though in my head, people told me you couldn't kill your baby, Cheryl. But in my heart, that was what I believed. And so I had to say those things to that little spirit. I had to say, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean that. I wanted you. I will always remember you all. I will always honor your memory. I will pass your name on to other children. I will tell your story. And then on the last day, this is really important. On the last day, he called all the family that could come to come. And he had all of us sit in a circle. And then he had everyone pass an eagle feather around. And he said, everyone, now is the time to share with Cheryl what the loss of this baby means to you. And so I don't know how many of you women have ever lost a baby through miscarriage or stillbirth, but I felt like I was alone in that grief because I thought nobody felt that life inside of them. People just were like, get over it. Oh, if the baby would have lived, it would have been deformed. You should be glad. Stuff like that did not help at all. None of that did. But as they passed the feather around the circle of the family, and there were people who would have been the aunties and uncles saying, oh, this is the baby that I won't get to tickle or tease or carry on my shoulders. And this is the little one that I won't get to braid their hair or tell stories to. And so many of the people in that circle and the grandpas and grandmas, they cried. They were crying and talking like that. And I can't tell you, my tears right now are happy ones because I did not feel alone in my grief by doing that. And when we were done, we took the bundle and we took the food for the feast and we brought it out to put it in a fire. We made one in a grill. We're still in the city. And as we did that, 4 eagles came right directly above us in the middle of the city of Minneapolis. 4 eagles came and flew right above us. And he said, they're here. This is the grandmas and grandpas that are coming to get the baby. And he said, now it's time to let go. And don't worry anymore because they have the baby. The baby's okay. And then I cried happy tears because I knew it. And after that, I had dreams of my grandma and my aunties. Every time I lost a baby after this, I knew to do this ceremony. And I had 4 babies that I lost like that. And my grandma and my aunties would come to me in my dream and they would show me my babies, what they look like. And I would know if they were a boy or a girl. And we named all of our little babies like that after bird spirits, because to me they were little birds flying home to the spirit world. And so he told me after that, he said, there's not a lot of people who remember this ceremony. And so he said, you should tell women that there is such a thing. And if they ever want to do this, talk to them about how to do it. So I always share this story about that because once again, there's certain themes in that we're talking about here where you're supposed to cry. Their spirit is with us. They're not gone. They're all around us. We have to do this together. We're not meant to grieve by ourselves. The act of all of those family and relatives sharing what that loss of that little baby meant to them meant the difference between me having probably unresolved grief for the rest of my life and being free and cherishing the memory of that little spirit that was with me for that little bit of time. And so now I feed the birds. I have bird feeders wherever I live. And when those little birds come, it's like healing to my heart. So I always like to share about that one. I quickly want to just say a couple more things that I think are really important about that are helpful that our tribe does. And I think there's a lot of other tribes that do this as well. That the recognizing that those first 4 years after someone passes are like the hardest. And after that first year that we have a feast and a giveaway. And that's the year where we're thanking the people that were really there for us and helped us through that first year, because especially when we're grieving the loss of a parent or a child or a partner. Those and other ones are very hard as well, but we really need our all of the people around us who are healthy to help us through those times, or even the ones maybe that aren't doing very well, but they give us everything that they have. So we really have. I remember when I was young that I used to see people doing giveaways so much more than I do now. Um, but on the fourth year, we would do a giveaway again. But each year of those first 4 years, we would have a feast and invite the whole family over and talk about the memories and get out all the pictures of that person and tell those stories again, and live in the blessing of having had them and not living in the loss, and acknowledging that we knew they were there with us and cooking all their favorite foods. And I think what it was, maybe 2 days ago, it was the anniversary of my husband and my children's father. It was his sobriety date, and we treat those as birthdays. And Valentina said, because he loved pie, and she said, I'm going to make Dad some pie today and put it out. So anytime we're lonesome for someone, we're thinking about them, to cook something that they like and put a little dish out. The way I've been taught is they receive it. They don't need food anymore over there, but they really like the taste of it still. So that's something really wonderful to do. I did want to mention that when my brother Tom died from Upper Sioux, one of the things I loved was that every night of that wake time, we had a sweat, and that was a really good place to cry. And the immediate family, we all went in there together, and then people cooked for us when we came out, and they wiped us down, and they fed us. And we have ceremonies. I know the Dakota people have wiping of the tears, and our Ojibwe people, we have Cedar Healing, which is very similar, where we get washed off. It's like the whole community comes together and does it together, and we wash each other off from the grief or the pain. And we sing the songs to each other and use the medicines, and it's such a beautiful thing to come together that way and do that. We're never alone. It's always the family and the community coming together to help us do these things. And so our messages that I really wanted to get across when we did this talk tonight, that let's really remember that we have beautiful, beautiful ways of dealing with loss and death and grief, and we don't have to reinvent something. Our ancestors gave them to us, and we just have to clear our minds of the alcohol and the drugs and learn. I know communities that I've traveled to that, and they said, we don't remember any of our songs or our language or our ceremonies, Cheryl. But you know what? When this over, guess what happened? This tribe out in California at Bear River, they called and they said, Cheryl, guess what? We're dreaming things. We're dreaming our language. We're dreaming our ceremonies. So people don't ever have to despair. And I even remember my teacher, me, if you don't know, to tell you, you put into Bible out every day to show you what you should do. And I knew there would be something, but I couldn't find someone to teach to me. I kept putting that to back out until something came to me. So I do invite all of you to really think about what you've learned about death and loss and grieving, and something that's helped you. If you don't already practice these ways, think about something to. It makes the world of difference. Do it together. In the chat, and so there's questions and comments. So I wanted to ask, maybe Cecina, could you go through them, and if there's certain ones that that are kind of a thread where a lot of them are the same. If there's a question, I know that I saw that there's some people who are asking could we write these things down and share it? I'm thinking that if people could leave your email addresses in the chat, that we could get those before people leave. And then I could ask Linda or Val or myself to write some that we shared and then send them out in an email if people wanted. If you, or maybe this would be easier too. We could share our emails and people could email us directly as well as another option.
Yes, there was one question about if we're going to be recording and posting, and we will have somewhere that we can share it, or kind of like Cheryl was saying, just giving us your direct email would be easiest probably. Let's see what else you got.
And for those that want mine, oh, it just went to one person. Sorry. Nicole say Red Cedar. I meant to do it to everyone. Everyone meeting. Here we go. I'll do.
All right, let's see. A lot of really great comments as the presentation was going on, but I'm trying to find if there's many questions.
Yeah, I wanted to also comment to you, Cheryl, about the baby miscarriage ceremony, and I didn't realize the whole extent of that ceremony. I just did very simple, and my granddaughter had a miscarriage, and she had the baby, and it was like only a couple months old, 3 months old, something like that, inside, and so we had that, and then we put her or the baby in a wooden cedar box and covered the baby in red. And that cedar box was my mom's cedar box, so we put it in the cedar box and buried that. But while we were doing the ceremony, we didn't really see any eagles, but what we saw were chickadees. We saw a chickadee.
Aww.
The chickadee came and he was fluttering around, and he would land on the branch right over the area where we were praying and where we were going to bury the baby and all of that and everything there, and just stayed a long time. And then he'd fly off and go around us. Then he'd come back and land on that branch again. And so to her, a chickadee is just very special. And she'll always, every time she sees a chickadee, she'll remember that precious little soul, that baby.
Mm-hmm.
That was beautiful. So messages come in so many different ways, I think.
They do.
And so we just have to grab onto it and say, I asked her, I said, did you see that little chickadee? She said, yeah, I was wondering what it was. I said, I think that was baby. And she says, oh, I think it was.
Without a doubt.
Yeah. She said,
Yeah.
that was baby. So it was, so even if that was the only first time I ever did that, I never did anything like that before. So even our own humble way, we don't have to have all the answers and all the how-tos of anything. It's just the intent of our heart, and that I wanted to help my granddaughter
Right.
release that pain from that miscarriage. So I was really grateful to you for helping me with that too.
You guys are so welcome. We want to make sure to let you all know that we're going to have a healing song before we do close, if you guys want to stick around for that. And we're going to share some more medicine. But I want to just clarify a couple things. Cecina, do you know where we can make available the recording of this share?
The easiest thing for me to do would be to probably post it on our American Indian Family Center page.
Facebook page or website?
I can probably do both.
Yeah.
I'll get a hold of Charlotte and make sure that that's something that we can do.
Okay. That would be great. Yeah, I love how, before the European people came here, indigenous people, we knew all about the unseen world, and we were wise in it, and we did not doubt it. And so I like to tell people when they think, oh, I wonder if that's my dad, or I wonder if that's my baby, when they see um, a butterfly or a bird or a deer or whatever it might be. And I always tell people, if you got that feeling, believe it, don't doubt it. That's how we would have been before a dominant culture told us to feel crazy for thinking that kind of things. Always believe that gut feeling and don't doubt that. That's what I embrace anyways. And for the feasting for the spirit dishes, I've known different people to do different things. Like to make like the spirit dish, you could take a piece of birch bark or a leaf and put it on there, or
Put
sometimes
it
a
in the
paper plate,
water. You can put it
something
in
that's
the water.
biodegradable, or put it in the water, or put it in the fire. I think for Linda's good china, we wouldn't wreck it. We would make sure that the food that was on those dishes
No, just wash
got
them.
offered, but the dishes got saved. Yeah, the
Yeah,
good
water.
china. Yeah. But that's what I think. It could be different for different tribes, but my understanding is like with any offering, you could put it by a tree, you could put it in the water, you could put it in a fire, and it will get where it needs to go. And don't get freaked out if like a bird or a dog comes to eat it, because they say that's just a part. The offering itself gets it where it needs to go. So if it decomposes to the earth or goes into the water or gets eaten by an animal, it gets where it needs to go. It's all in a natural way.
Thank you, Cecina, for helping us too.
Yeah,
You're
thank you.
welcome. Yeah.
So good to see you.
Any other major questions, Sina?
There was just two that I saw. Someone was asking Val what the salt is for. Like they knew, but they couldn't remember.
I was just responding to one because I just seen that. The belief is to purify the souls, though, because it was a blend of Aztec culture, Mayan culture, and traditions, and the Catholic Church. It's blended today. So some people still believe in like purgatory and those kinds of things. So the salt is out to kind of purify um, the spirits. And then I think the other question there was about the sugar skulls, and so that also there's a couple different things that I've learned is they're not supposed to be scary. There's nothing about the skulls or anything to be scary. Um, but one thing that I learned was um, they used to offer like the skulls or display the skulls as to their god, um, almost as a way of like requesting safe passage through those series of like that journey that I talked about, those 7 tasks that they have to do or to ask for safe passage. Um, Sugar skulls are used today to, like, if you're making an ofrenda for a specific person, you would put the name on the forehead. Another teaching with it is like the significance of how temporary our bodies are. So with the sugar skull, they'll bring them to the ceremonies or to the cemeteries, and the water will wash it away, or animals will eat them or whatever, and so it's like symbolizes the just the shell of us, right? That it's
It's
temporary.
temporary.
Mm-hmm.
I know one other thing that I just remembered that I wanted to share. Our family goes to the cemetery in Red Lake where my husband and the children's father is buried, and he has a spirit house. And all the houses at the cemetery, they're painted really beautiful colors, and there's flowers everywhere. It's like I think in Mexico how it is at the cemeteries there, where it's full of bright colors and it's like really cheerful. And we like to go there like on Father's Day or Memorial Day, and bring food and sit and all around the house, just sit on the on the ground and visit with him and offer a little plate, and we laugh, and I bring our traditional dish game, um, the Bagazi game, and the grandkids play, and we make it like a special visiting time with him. Like he's there with us,
Mhm.
and plant flowers every year. It's yeah, I love that. I love seeing all the other families coming out to do that too.
Mhm.
All right.
I did have one question from Wendy. She's asking, she says, Chimigwich, these are beautiful teachings. Can this feast be used for all of our loved ones who walked on, or only Indigenous families?
For
I would
everyone.
everybody's if you go back far enough, everybody's indigenous. Everybody lived tribally
For
once.
all of us.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And we don't I my teachers tell me we don't own things.
Yeah.
If it's spiritual, if it's the spirit world, that belongs to everybody. We there are people who are fear-based and say, "No, it's ours. You can't have it." But they weren't us. Our God is a love-based God. And
That's
so,
right.
yeah. So I would say, oh, I love the Hawaiian teachings too.
I
Sing.
see that. Yeah.
Yes. Oh, I love that.
Where's
Sing.
their ukulele? They should sing with us the water song.
Great time at the gravesite and sing. Yes. How beautiful is that? Um, it would be good just to have maybe every once in a while get together and just have a forum for people to come together and talk about these kind of topics. It could be good for people that are struggling to hear from other people who um, are able to practice some things that are helpful. I did want to also say that there's a misconception about Native people, Native American Indigenous people. Indians don't cry. That's a lie. That is a lie. That is not who we were before the Europeans came. It was
Just the
built.
Hollywood Indians.
Yeah, yeah. When there's when there's litter on the road and his little tear comes down, but it was built into our ceremonies. Men were supposed to cry. The whole community sometimes was supposed to cry. So I want to let everybody know that whole idea that crying makes you weak or it's bad or any of that is not traditional. That
Nope.
came from somewhere else and it wasn't us. So
I also wanted to share one more thing too about that I didn't say. Um, that another aspect of making the ofrenda is rather than buying, or if you buy some items, to buy from indigenous crafters, but also the importance of, or for me, another healing aspect is being able to create with my hands. And to do that, it's like a healing. You're putting that energy in.
Mhm.
And there's just like that calming piece of it of being able to do that craft. And they're not on here yet, but uh my kids have been making like clay things, and so they're going to paint them. And a couple other things I forgot to mention, like specific foods for the ofrenda, and other beliefs of like the spirit animals. That's another commonality between our cultures, um, of having like spirit helpers, right? And
Mm.
so the alabrijes, they're called, the mystical animals, and the importance of like chocolate. They use hot chocolate and bread of the dead, it's called. And so the chocolate is significant because cocoa beans were currency for Aztecs. So it
Wow.
was thought of like the richest thing that you could have. It was like a food of the gods. So I wanted to share those quick things. So
Wow.
Shaya shared in the chat that an Anishinaabe elder shared a teaching that tears are strength if we cry. Where'd it go now? I just lost it.
It went up one.
Yeah.
I was reading, if we cry, we should wipe the tears onto
into our hair or into
face
our
and in our hair.
face. Yeah, because they give us strength. And don't use a tissue. We always say that too when we have our
Use your
gatherings.
sleeve.
That don't give somebody a tissue, because what you're doing when you do that is it means please
Stopping
stop
them.
crying, and that's the healing is in the tears. So there's a time to comfort somebody, but it's when they're all done crying, not when they're just starting or in the middle of it. Yeah, rub it into the skin. Yep. Well, that might be a good segue into our song that we wanted to sing. We want to do a healing song that's a water song, and there might be quite a few people who know this song. It's not a very old song. It comes to us from my really dear sister, Doreen Day, and her grandson. And our teachings tell us, we've had some wonderful elders, passing down water teachings, Josephine Mendamen and many others, that water is our first medicine and probably our most powerful medicine, in that water is both the strongest force on earth and the most sensitive, because it can wear through rock and stone and steel and iron. And yet at the same time, what you expose water to will change it. So if you expose it to thoughts and words and sounds and feelings, you can either make it a more beautiful medicine, or you can turn it polluted and sick and distorted. And so knowing those teachings, Doreen and her grandson had committed to going to the river every day to say thank you and I love you to the water, knowing that it will help the river heal, because pollution was being dumped into it. And one day her grandson said, I think this should be a song. And I always say I very much get why he would, because our teachings tell us that songs are a higher level of prayer because it's a higher vibration, and that he comes from a family of singers. They're beautiful singers, the Day family. So they prayed about it and put tobacco out, and this is the song that came to them. But they also wanted some help to translate the words into Ojibwe, and they went to Dan Jones, and he was a Ojibwe language professor at Fond du Lac Tribal College, and he translated the words into Ojibwe. And the words are saying, water, we love you. Water, we thank you. Water, we respect you. But if you take that teaching and expand that understanding of it and think about, as human beings, we're 70 or more % water. So as we're singing out to heal the waters in the 4 directions, we're healing the water inside of ourselves and each other. And almost every living thing is mostly made of water. So, the earth, the plants, the animals, everything. And so what a beautiful, powerful healing song. It was meant to be a lullaby to the water, so it calms and soothes babies. And you can sing to women's pregnant bellies, because just think about it. Those little babies are surrounded by water, and you're making it all medicine. And so this is a really beautiful song. If you want to learn it and you don't know it yet, it's on YouTube. Doreen very generously shared it there so people could learn it. You just do a search for Doreen Day Water Song and you'll find it. It's a simple song. She and I, when we used to sing it with the ladies that we worked with, we would always forget how many times we sung it through. And we're supposed to sing it 4 times through. And so we would have everybody stand up and face the east and sing a verse in the east, and then turn south and sing, and then west, and then north, and then we never forgot how many times we sang it. But I always laugh when I tell people it's like sometimes when we learn protocols for things, people get like, oh, you have to do it this way, or you'll go to Indian hell or something. You don't have to do it that way, but it helps you so you don't forget how many times you sang it through. So, I would invite people, if you have a bottle of water or a glass of water or a copper cup of water, to get some water, because also while we sing this song, we'll be making a really great medicine in that cup. And for people who live in our area of the country where there is a lot of copper, our people knew that if you put water in copper, it brings out even more medicinal qualities. So you'll see a lot of people in our tribe have copper cups and copper kettles and things like that. But you can do it with any bottle of water or cup or glass. And unfortunately, because there's so many people that into the culture police. I was just reading in the chat for a second. Unfortunately, we can't be all unmuted, or else it's just going to be really distorted. But maybe we can have 4 people volunteer to each lead in a verse and everybody else mute. But the more people that sing together, the more powerful it is. And can you imagine how many people have been on here tonight if we all were singing together? Wow, a great healing will occur. So I will start us out. If I could have a volunteer to do the second or the third or the fourth verse.
I will.
Linda, want to do the second?
Yeah, just start
Okay.
me off and I'll be all right.
Yeah. How about the third?
I can.
Maria?
Teresa Binda.
Oh, Teresa. Okay, Teresa wants to do the third. And then Maria, you want to do the fourth? Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Thank you.
I can't, a lot of the people I can't see because if we're all on different pages. There's 4 pages of people. So, okay, we've got 4 people, but everyone else, even if you're muted, please sing along. And after that, then we'll share some sweetgrass, and I'll ask my daughter to help us with that, since that's her name and her calling. So here we go with the water song.
Oh, hold on, Mama. I'm just going to let everybody know, if you're not the one currently singing, mute yourself, and then we'll have you unmute when it's your turn. Otherwise, it echoes.
Yeah. All right. And if you don't know the song, it's easy to learn it. So start humming along and maybe say the words a little bit as you go, but that's the best way to learn. So here we go. Nibe izage go. Imi gwechoe ni mi go. Gijawe ni mi go. Linda.
Nibe Gijake go. Gimme Gwechowe ni mi go. Gijawe ni mi go.
Okay, and me, Teresa. All right. Mi be gizake go. Kimi gwechawe ne mi go. Gijawe ne mi go. Oh, mi gwech.
Nibe Gisage gu. Gimme Gwechowe ni mi go.
Ishawe nimigu.
Miigwech, Nikanagina. Good medicine. Thank you, everyone, for coming out to be with us tonight and keep
Thank you.
spreading the word.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, everyone, for seeing so many people here. It's awesome. People are hungry. See, not just the spirits, the people are hungry for a different kind. Okay, bamapi, y'all.
Jimmy.
Again.
Go on, man.
Okay, here we go.
Make which nagash.
I have my arthritic hands here.
Our speakers tonight.
Mama P. Linda.
Bye-bye.
Nice meeting.
Love you.
Igawavamin.
Ahau.
What about the sweetgrass?
The way we're going to do that is with your tobacco. The little boy water drum is going to connect all of us as one through your tobacco. And all you got to do.
I should have asked before. Is this something that we don't want to record, or maybe just the teaching?
You mean you're not recording yet? I got to start all over?
I just don't like this part. We can record, right? And then when we start ceremony, we should probably.
You know, I myself don't have any restrictions.
Okay. Okay.
Record away. I want it on Facebook an hour after we're done. No, just kidding. That was such a good spiel. I have to say it all over again. No, just kidding. And so the healing power of the little boy water drum is he's gonna connect to you through the tobacco. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna sing a tobacco song. And song is a higher level of prayer. And I'm gonna ask my wellness group to volunteer to take a lead. So what I'll do is I'll sing the first lead, volunteer to sing the second lead. All right, Maria and Cheryl, you got the third, and volunteer for the fourth lead. All right, Nelda. Okay. And so what you can do is for the first lead, face the direction of the east. For the second lead, face the direction of the south. For the third lead, face the direction of the west. And then for the fourth lead, face the direction of the north. And when you're singing, unmute yourself. And when you're not singing, mute yourself. And if you have rattles wherever you are, you can shake your rattles. If you have a drum, you can beat on your drum also. Whatever traditional items you have wherever you are, you can help power up the tobacco. And that's basically what we're doing, is we're powering up through the water drum, through vibrational energy. Aha. Yahweh we Yahweh we Yahweh 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 we Yahweh we. I think that's a different song. I was singing that song earlier, and it's a naming song, and I was singing Yabeshigo Min. I was singing his song. Now, if I could get the right song, we might be able to do this off on the right track. There we go. Way I way, Yahweh I way I way oh. Way I way, Yahweh I way oh. Way I way, Yahweh I way I way. Yahweh I Bindigen, Swabeno will say ma. Bindigen, Shawanoga will say ma. Bindigen, Ogimawe, Bende will say ma. Way I quail.
Way I way, Yahweh I way oh. Way I way, Yahweh I way oh. Way I way, Yahweh I way oh. Way I way, Yahweh. Yahweh, I way, oh. Bindigen, Wabanu, we say, ma. Bindigen, Jawano, we say, ma. Bindigen, Ogimawe, we say, ma. Way, oh.
Way I way, Yahweh I way, way I way, Yahweh I way, way I way, Yahweh I way, way I way, Yahweh. Yahweh, I way, in the game, Wabanu, we are same, in the game, Jawanunga, we are same, in the game, Wogi my way, my day, we are same, way I way, oh.
We are way, Yahweh, 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 yo. We are way, Yahweh, 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 yo. We are way, Yahweh, 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 yo. Bindigen, Wabenu, we are same, Bindigen. Jauh kau ya sema Bindigen Overhawi Magawi ya sema We are we
Nikanagana, Niguchkinawa, Aske, Asema, Katkunamango, Manongum. Miziwe, Kigapaganibita Tsokan, Gigagizamanan. So with this tobacco and this tobacco song, we offer this tobacco to all of the spirit helpers that we're calling upon. Your clan, your Indian name, your sacred items, all of the spirit keepers, we're calling upon them to come and be with us and to come and help us. And you can take that tobacco and put it in your pipe. I'm very fortunate to have a 7 grandfather's pipe. and the 7 grandfathers pipe. These guys, they work together, and there are 7 spots on the bottom of the water jump. It's a 7-pointed star, and there's a constellation in the sky called Manituwigamig that helps us make that connection. And as we're making this connection, then these guys, they go to work for us. The pipes that you guys are smoking, the drums that we are using, the rattles, all of your sacred items. These water drums are going around collecting your tobacco, and they are offering it to the helpers to come and help us with this healing ceremony. Now, as we were singing, the drum spoke to me and told me that the ladies need to do a water song, and a water song powers up all of the water that's in the water drum. It powers up the water that's inside you. It powers up the water, the medicine that we're going to be using. So I'm going to hand it over to Cheryl to lead us in a water song, and we're going to power up your water. Miigwech.
You want to get, if you have a copper cup, that's really great. But if you just have a bottle of water or a cup of water or a glass of water, that's fine. I would like to do a song that I think a lot of you probably know. It's one that you do with Wellbriety and Well-Anon and lots of other groups. It's a song that originally came to Doreen Day and her grandson Mashkuns, and they had dedicated, made a commitment to every day to go to water to say thank you and I love you to the water, because they come from a family of water protectors, water walkers, and know and understand those teachings that say water is our first medicine, is probably our most powerful medicine. On the one hand, that water is so powerful that it's the one thing that can wear away rock and stone and steel and iron. And on the other hand, it's that dichotomy. It's so sensitive that whatever you expose water to, it changes it. So if you're exposing water to any kind of negativity, it'll change the molecular structure of it and make it polluted and sick. And if you, on the other hand, expose water to positivity, positive thoughts, words, sounds, feelings, that changes it as well. And it makes it a more beautiful, it helps heal it and makes it more beautiful medicine. So by making that commitment, Doreen and her grandson, that's a great thing to do every day, to go out and send those messages out to water. Thank you and I love you. And one day her grandson said, I think, Grandma, this should be a song. And so they put tobacco out and prayed about it. This is the song that came to them. And they went to get help from Pebam's twin brother, Dan Jones, who's also a Ojibwe language instructor up at Fond du Lac. He has crossed over now. But at that time, he was still a professor there and helping them. And so they translated the words into Ojibwe, and the words to the song are saying, water, we love you, water, we thank you, water, we respect you. And we sing the words, we sing a lead or a verse out into the 4 directions, starting in the east and then going to the north, and then, the east, then the south, then the west, and the north. One of the things that I think is really important for us to remember, because we're singing out to heal the waters on the earth that are being horribly polluted everywhere. But as we're singing out to heal those waters, we're healing the waters in every living thing. Like almost every living thing is mostly made of water, and that includes us as human beings. So we're healing the water inside of ourselves and each other. It's a beautiful healing song. You can use it for so many things. It was meant to be a lullaby to the water. It calms babies and children. You can sing it to your family that might be ill or in the hospital, or someone who is mind, body, heart, or spirit is struggling. You can sing to the water in your shower. You can sing to the water in your coffee maker. You can make medicine all over the place. And I love the teachings of water. I think they go to infinity. So I would like to ask for some volunteers to help me if I sing the first lead. Is there someone who would like to volunteer to sing the second, the third, and the fourth leads? I can't see anybody, so you're probably going to have to unmute. Dawn's going to volunteer.
I could take 2.
Okay, Dawn will take 2. What about 3? Anybody?
Hey, Cheryl, it's Rayette. I can try.
All right, Rayette, yay. I'm proud of you. All right, and for the fourth.
I will, Cheryl. It's Tammy.
All right, Tammy. Thank you. Miigwech. All right, so I take the
I
first.
also wanted to add,
Yeah.
those of you that made tea, that cedar tea, you're going to hold that up too, because that's where the healing is going to come from. That's where you're powering up the cedar water that you have. Okay, so hold it up during this song. Maybe
You guys wants to hold it up, or
A couple people want.
I'm gonna hold the drum and the tea
ladies first. The ladies first.
in the water cup. All right, here we go. Ni be
Zage go.
mi away ni mi go. Away ni mi go.
Ni be gija ge go. Gi mi gwe chue ni mi go. Gija we ni mi go.
Ni be gijage go. Give me great away, ni me go. Give away, ni me go.
Ni be giza geigo. Gish ni gwech away ni mi go. Gish away ni mi go.
Nikanagana. Anishina. Ingagagizumaga Tsokanag. So I'm going to offer a prayer. And Cheryl will tell you that when you start ceremony, when you start a gathering of like this with prayer, song, and medicine, you get a desired result. So whatever you are hoping for, whatever you are seeking, that's what you're going to get out of the ceremony. Anishina, Sema Ho'oma Nongum, Minoa Lebe. Ingagi Sadan, Miguan, Ma Agochi, Ma Wabinong, Wabinobunes, Ainend. Jauno Nakei, Agochin Mino Bejik, Miguan, Jauno Benes, Gidigo. Ningabi Anong Mina Bejik Ma Miguan, Agochin. We must go gabo, mi bawe, O'oma. Guitinong Yatasha, Wapshkazi, Miguan. Guitini Benesi Kijinikazo. Me ea dash, Wayne Danimak, at sokanag. Minoa ma ke. Go komisanan. Mi amaga undanang. Gego, Jejibama the Zitan Shinabe. The be kang it ashigaye. The midjo and zibe. O ma, Mrs. Eb Asian Katig. Ngagizama, Michizibe. Minoa, O ma, Ishpiming. Bagune Gijigung, Bionje ya, Anishinabe. New gote Gijik. Mita Shama, Kabonje yat gaye. Mitigwa kekug. Gibini sabi. Ugiat so katanga kenegego. Mita shwenje gekikendang Anishinabe. Anina kei. Gego jijichiget o oma. Ngagizama geta shigaye gido temiwa. Biwinzo winewa. Gakina. Atso kana ganoene migo yeg. Umbigijiga teg o oma. Me gwech. So at the beginning, I never really know where the direction of the prayer is going to go. But I'll tell you what happened. So the vibrational energy of the drum is sending and collecting all of your prayers, collecting all of your requests. And in my room, in my home, I have 4 eagle feathers up. I have one in the east. And Wabino Benes is the name of that spirit. I have one in the south. Jaono Benes is the name of that spirit. I have an eagle feather hanging in the west. And Memushkawi Gabo is the name of that spirit. In the north, I have a white eagle feather, and she is female, and she is Giretinibene Sikh. And the 4 of them that are hanging up, what it does is they create a lodge, a spirit lodge, over my house, and now it has extended to where you are. You are now inside that lodge also, and you're being protected. And the water drums, that's what they do. They expand that. And then the earth also, and the water. The river that runs through St. Paul and Minneapolis, Mississippi, is a sacred river. So we honor that also. And then the last direction is in the sky. And Bagune Gishik is the hole in the day. And there's 4 levels in the sky. So all of your helpers, all of the beings that you call upon with your tobacco, they come forward through that hole in the day, Bagune Gijigong. And then they come and they power up everything. They power up everything that we've done so far. You are in a sacred way right now. So your thoughts, your actions, whatever you speak you're being heard. You are getting what it is you ask for. Now, everything is all powered up. And that's where the ceremony, that's where the prayer went. So the lodge, we're all in the lodge together, the Creator's Lodge, and it's huge. And so now we're going to just walk you through the process of the Cedar Healing ceremony. And that's the opening. And I know lots of you felt it. It's powerful. What we all did just now was powerful. So I'm going to have give it back to Cheryl to walk us through the process of the ceremony itself, what you guys are going to do. Now you guys got to go to work now.
Now, if we had been able to be together, for those of you that have been to Cedar Healing ceremonies already, you'll know what I'm talking about. But for those who may not have experienced it before, normally there would be a buffalo hide and a bear hide on the ground and some fresh for each person, fresh cedar laid out on top of that. And each person would take a turn that wanted to get wiped down, that wanted to get cleaned off, something that you don't want to carry anymore. If it might be a grief or a feeling or a sickness that you don't want to carry anymore. You step out onto that cedar and that hide, and then there would be, if you were a woman, it would be other women doing it to help you, or if you're a man, it would be other men. And they would get the cedar tea with fresh, clean washcloths, and a song would start, and they would start to wipe you down from the top of your head down to the bottoms of your feet. And you should have your shoes and socks off because they'll need to wash off the bottoms of your feet. After washing all the way down while the song is being sung, it's a very emotional, powerful time. And all the people who aren't being washed down at that time or aren't singing, your job in the circle is to send out thoughts and prayers for those people that are out there getting washed down. So even if you decide you didn't want to get washed down tonight, you have an important part to play. This is a community healing where we all come out and help each other to heal. So after getting wiped down with the cedar tea, we won't use that washcloth again. That's why for those of you that got a package from we would say don't use that washcloth again. We're going to hopefully be able to direct you in a way to, it's the best thing to do with all of the things that we end up using, and then the used cedar, the washcloths, if we could collect them so that they could go to a sacred fire, like at a sweat or something to be burned. But we'll talk about that later. After being wiped down, then you'll get smudged down. And when we're together, we have eagle wing fans that we use that smudge you with sage after you've been washed down from the top to the bottom. And then after that, then you're offered a pinch of 2 different medicines, ground cedar and ground bear root. And that's going to help you with that healing as well. And after you take a pinch of each of those on your tongue, then you drink a little glass of water to wash it down. And then after that, then you'd be able to go sit down, and it will be the next person's turn to get washed down. So because we're doing this virtually for the very first time, we're like making history here. We're showing our resilience as Native people, because all of these years that we've been surviving attempted genocide and being forced removals and migrating to different places, we had to adapt. We had to find new medicines and new songs, and so once again, it's a time of a pandemic, and we're finding ways to take care of ourselves and each other. So I know that for probably the group at White Earth is the largest group. And so I'm not sure if you guys can let us know how many songs it's going to take to get through everybody at the White Earth group. For those of you that, if you're home by yourself and you're washing yourself down, you'll be able to be done with the first song. But if you say you have 2 people, one person get washed down first, then trade, and then you wash down the other person that's with you. I'm not sure how many family groups we have.
Cheryl,
Yeah.
at White Earth we have 7, maybe 8.
But
we can also do songs for if needed for the others.
Or we can just keep going, you know what I mean? Like as the songs are going, we can just keep going with our process rather than stopping, you know what I mean? We'll just keep it going continuous if that's okay.
Okay.
Yeah, 8. Okay.
So what do you think, Paybom? Should we figure on how many songs?
So there's 2 water drums, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So what we'll do we'll just go back and forth,
Till we're done.
one song at a time, and we'll just keep going. As you were talking, what messages always come to me when we're in ceremony. What we've been doing at my house is we took the cedar and we took the bare root, and what we did was we brewed it into a medicine, the both of them. And what we've been doing is we took a towel and we put our face into the vapor. And so whenever you have the cedar and bare root left over after ceremony today, whatever you don't ingest, you can brew it into a tea and inhale it. So all you do is bring it to a boil and then cover yourself with a towel and inhale it. And that's powerful medicine. That's so any extra medicine you have left over, just brew it, and then you can do that. You can continue this ceremony, and the power times of the day are sunrise, noon, sunset, and midnight. We do it first thing in the morning and the last thing at night. That's the way we do it. And so you can continue this ceremony for 4 days after this evening with the medicine. So that's all I wanted to add. All right, how many singers do we got here? You're gonna take a song, that's what you're gonna do. So Maria, so how about if we the first person take a song and then they just pass it on, and feel free to talk about the song if you wish.
Hey, Bum, I just have one question.
Yeah.
Because only the person who's singing can have their microphone on, we won't all be able to hear the drum, but it's okay, right? Just because as long as it's going out, the vibrations are going out, we don't have to sing.
Yeah, we already took care of that actually. What we did was through the tobacco that people are holding, that's how the drum will find them.
Okay.
Powerful stuff.
Miigwech.
It's more powerful than the internet.
Mm-hmm.
This is the spiritual internet right here. So your faith and your tobacco, that's all you need.
So I would just say, we kind of went through in the instruction of how we would normally do it, but for now, because we're all kind of in a different place, some of us are alone, some of us are together with our families, some of us are in a big group. Just kind of get your things ready next to you if they're not already. If you've got your cedar tea, you can dilute it a little bit if it's really strong. And have your washcloth next to you so that when we start singing, you can start wiping. And then if you have extra sage left after smudging earlier, or if you have extra around your house, have that ready so that you can smudge down again after you've been wiped down. And then kind of you can get your bay root and your cedar ready and mixed together in a little cup if you've got something like that, so that it's just ready to kind of ingest when you're done. So just kind of create your little space and all your belongings. If you have a rattle or a drum or whatever else you'd be using to sing, you can keep that near you too. And so, and then just maybe have like a Ziploc bag or something to put your washcloth in when you're done, because that's something that we won't want to reuse. And if any of this is stuff that you don't have, it's okay. The songs that we're singing and the prayers that we're sending out are really going to help us all too. So just do the best you can with what you've got, and we'll get going.
If it's okay, could I give a reminder as well? For those of you who might be pregnant or who are pregnant, we would recommend that you not ingest the cedar to not take, correct, Cheryl?
Mhm.
Right. Thanks, Don.
It can cause premature labor. That's why.
Yeah.
If you're
Well, you can
in
still go
labor,
ahead
it's
and
good to
take it.
take.
Right.
Right.
You can still use the cedar tea, just not the cedar injection.
Right.
No, I think you can
No.
wipe down just as long as you don't drink it. Yeah.
Right. Right.
Right. But still take your bear root. So that's everybody can have that and drink your good medicine water and we'll get going.
What if I'm not sure? I might be pregnant.
Then don't do it. Just to be safe.
Just kidding. All right. Nanandawi Nagamun is the first song I'm going to start off. This is a healing song. And this song was able to heal my baby sister of cancer that she had in her stomach. And Nanandawi Nagamun is a healing song. So if you have rattles, however you can create vibrational energy wherever you are, you can help with it. Like I said, all you need is your tobacco and Little Boy Water Drum will find you. Niga ni jinja man se man inga gisama. Atso kan katibendang nanandawi nagaman. So I send this tobacco forward to the spirit keeper of this song, this healing song.
Anigana.
Miigweit, nanantoinagamun. I will hand it right over to you, Cheryl.
All right. That worked out really well. I got everything finished on myself, so. All right, I'm gonna do one of the Spirit Bear songs. I'm trying to remember the beginning of the one Spirit Bear song. I know the easy one. Somebody give me the first sound of it.
Which one? Wea hea ho? Wea hea ho? Wea.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. Got it. All right, here we go. Anigana. All right, maybe pass to Maria. Would you like to do a song next?
Maria, you're on mute. I don't know if you're meant to.
Because there's so many women here tonight, I'd like to sing Anishinaabe Ikwe. I learned that when I used to go to the Ogeechee Ikwe drum group, which I was a part of. I still am, but I haven't been going because of COVID. And it's calling the women back to the clan way of life. And part of that is going to ceremony, and this is a ceremony of healing tonight. So it's calling the women back to the clan ways. We haya ho hey oh, we haya ho hey oh, we haya, we haya, we haya ho ya. We haya ho we oh hey ya hey oh. Anishinaabe kwe ga mindi good dem ga mindi good dem takina we bindigay no ma we nishani mi we ya hey oh. We haya ho hey oh, we haya ho hey oh, we haya, we haya, we haya ho ya, we haya ho we oh hey ya hey oh. Anishinaabe kwe ga mindi good dem ga mindi good dem takina we bindigin oh ma we nishani mi we ya hey oh, we haya ho hey oh, we haya ho hey oh, we haya, we haya, we haya ho ya, we haya ho we oh hey ya hey oh. Anishinaabe kwe ga mindi good dem ga mindi good dem takina we bindigay no ma we nishani mi we ya hey oh, we haya ho hey oh, we haya ho hey oh, we haya, we haya, we haya ho ya, we haya ho oh hey ya hey oh. Anishinaabe kwe ga mindi good dem ga mindi good dem takina we bindigay no ma we nishani mi we ya hey oh. You kind of gonna
Beautiful song. So Cecilia.
Yes.
I'm going to take an intermittent break here and tell you a joke.
Okay. I'm ready for a joke.
You know why I don't have my scabs here?
Why?
They've gotten so good at ceremony that they always steal the show.
Oh no. Nobody can overshadow Mama Beneath.
Well, I prevented that.
There you go. There you go.
But that's easy to do though.
White Earth, how you guys doing? They're wiping down. I don't.
How many do you have left?
We probably need like 4 more songs.
Okay.
They're doing a song a person, so.
Oh, okay. We were just want to make sure.
Yeah, if you guys just keep going, we're just gonna keep wiping down.
Okay. So do we need to pick somebody next?
So what we usually do is just we ask for volunteers. If
Okay.
anybody wants to sing a song. And even if nobody volunteers, then we just start over again from the beginning. So anybody volunteer to lead us in a song?
I want to look for one.
Sina, you should do the Peter Atkinson song.
Oh yeah, I can do that one. Hold on. I'm gonna stay for radio. Grab my rattle. I'm gonna yell. I'm gonna. I can talk. I'll talk about the song. This is a song from Peter Atkinson, who's a very respected elder. He had gone out one day for a fast and for a 4-day fast, and he was very sad because nothing had come to him, and it was his 4th day. But on that 4th night, this song came to him, and he thought it was the most beautiful song he had ever heard. And so, what this song is, it's a tobacco song that sends out your prayers all around the earth and all around the universe. So we're sending our tobacco out before us, just in a good way that we should always start any ceremony, any of our days. It's okay. I can't find it, but I'll do something else. Okay. So, and Peter has given us permission normally that we only sing like the two ways through because it's kind of a long song, but I'll go ahead and sing all 4 verses so that we can keep wiping down. I don't have my rattle. I don't know what I did with it. Okay. Yay. Ni gani, ni gani, ni gani, ni gani, ni gani, sema, sema, ni gani, ni gani, sema, ni gani. Midday waki, kijiwashka, midday gijigun, kijiwashka, nigani sema, sema, nigani, nigani, sema, nigani. Nigani, 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 sema, sema, nigani, nigani, sema, nigani. Nigani. Oh wait, sorry. Midday waki kijibashka. Midday gijigun kijibashka. Nigani sema, sema, nigani, nigani, sema, nigani. Nigani, 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 sema, sema, nigani, nigani, sema, nigani. Midday waki, kijibashka, midday gijigun, kijibashka, nigani sema, sema, ni gani, ni gani, sema, ni gani. Midday waki, kijibashka, midday kijigun, kijibashka, ni gani ya sema, sema, ni gani, ni gani, sema, ni gani, ni. Wait, am I done? Or was that only 3 or 4? I don't know. It's a long song.
Keep going.
Okay, one more.
Keep going.
All right. Ni gani, ni gani, ni gani, ni gani, ni gani asema, sema, ni gani, ni gani, sema, ni gani. Midday waki, kijibashka, midday gijigun, kijibashka, ni gani asema, sema, ni gani, ni gani, sema, ni gani. Miigwech, nakanigana.
Hanigana, Sina, thank you.
That was beautiful. A star is born.
Not quite. Thank you though.
All right, are we starting over the rotation or do we have another volunteer?
I will. Hey.
Excellent. Miigwech.
Oh no. What do I look like? Oops. Aha, meja ki bene sinigo ma ki awasa si dude. Musquaga me ways agi aigan jinakare. Ushkoni gane ma wen jibaya no bash and doon jiba. Dikena mendaya ma. Ni nagam. So sober song, I guess. I don't know what to call it. I'm just gonna go with it. No. You just need tobacco. I can put some tobacco. Same tapna same coming money to a key which say
Hey, Kanagada. Good song. Good song, way. I feel like an MC. Now back to the top of the order. Win to win, win dao so win to win in Gamajian. There was a song that the drum wanted me to sing at the beginning, and I'm going to honor his request. And it is a naming song, and I'm going to sing Gibeshi Gomin, and I'm going to honor his song. I'm going to honor his name. I also have another water drum sitting in the other room, and I'm going to honor him too. And his name is Niswik. So I'll honor them with this song. So, Wawin Dao, Sawin Nagamun. Yai Hui we Yai Hui we Yai Ha Yai Hui Yai Ha Yai Hui Yai Hui we Yai Hui we Yai Ha Yai Hui Yai Ha Yai Hui Yai Hui we Yai Hui we Yai Ha Yai Hui Yai Ha Yai Hui Yai Hui we Yai Hui That song came to me on a fast, and in the distance there was thunder rolling. And my father always told me that when I pass on and when you see the thunder, that'll be me. And he has since helped me. He's come back and told me lots of things. And so I believe that the people in the afterlife are always with us. And so it's we're never alone. They're always with us. And that song reminds me of my father, because that's who I was thinking of when I was fasting. And it's used as a naming song. All right, rolling around the drum roll. Cheryl Whitehog's drum.
Neil Gizik's drum. I like to do Zebin's water song. This song, Zebin's had gone on a fast to pray about the meaning of her name, and I think she also went to Shake Tent and got some teachings on it. The song is talking about how from the water comes life. It gives us life. And I just need somebody to help me with just the very first sound of it. Maria, do you remember it?
Yahweh,
Okay, got it. Yahweh. Here we go. Not the right song. I'm doing the Ninandaway song, aren't I? That's it. All right. You go ahead, Toy Cloud. We hi ya ya hey ya. We ha ya hey ya. We hi ya ya hey ya. We ha ya hey ya. We hi ya ya hey ya. We hi ya ya hey ya. We hi ya ho we ya hey yo. Mi go mi wa bu go sha ni bi mi ni kwe. Mi go sha we ge nin wen je bi ma dizzy an. We hi ya hey ya. We hi ya ho we ya hey yo. We hi ya hey ya. 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 We hi ya ho we ya hey yo. Mi go mi wa bu go sha ni bi mi ni kwe. Mi go sha we ge ni wen je bi ma dizzy an. We hi ya hey ya. We hi ya ho we ya hey yo. Hi ya hey ya. We 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 hi ya ho we ya hey yo. Go mi wa bu go sha ni bi mi ni kwe. Mi go sha we ge nin wen je bi ma dizzy an. We hi ya hey ya. We hi ya ho we ya hey yo. We hi ya hey ya. 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 We hi ya ho we ya hey yo. Mi go mi wa bu go sha ni bi mi ni kwe. Mi go sha we ge nin wen je bi ma dizzy an. We hi ya hey ya. We hi ya ho we ya hey yo. Mi go mi wa bu go sha ni bi mi ni kwe. Mi go sha we ge nin wen je bi ma dizzy an. We hi ya hey ya. We hi ya ho we ya hey yo. Miigwech Kanigina.
Which we are all done here on our end. Which
Well, since we're all done, quick Sichigate Nagamut. So the last song that we do is, it's called Gwek Sichigate Nagamun. And what that does is it puts everything back into order. Everything is always moving like this. It's always moving. And the universe that we live in is in constant motion. And all the way down to the atoms in our body, atoms in everything. Everything is in constant motion. At the beginning, when we sent out our tobacco, we sent it all the way around the universe, and we sent it all the way around, and asked our helpers to come and be with us. And so if you have food at this time too, after this song, you should share food. And so when we the song then is going to correct any possible wrongs that might have occurred. So there's really nothing wrong in ceremony, but if you think anything might have went wrong, then this song will correct it for you. It has the power to put the universe back into order. So that's the song we're going to render as our last song. Anine ketot kaya gi ketot. Anine ketot kaya gi ketot. Anine ketot. Bebeshko kishigo kaya gi ketot. Anine ketot kaya gi ketot. Anine ketot. Bebeshko kamigo kaya gi ketot. Anine ketot kaya gi ketot. Anine ketot. Oh hi 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 hi. Anine ketot kaya gi ketot. Anine ketot kaya gi ketot. Anine ketot. Bebeshko kishigo kaya gi ketot. Anine ketot kaya gi ketot. Anine ketot. Bebeshko kamigo kaya gi ketot. Anine ketot kaya gi ketot. Anine ketot. Oh hi hi hi. Anine ketot kaya gi ketot. Anine ketot kaya gi ketot. Anine ketot. Bebeshko kishigo kaya gi ketot. Anine ketot kaya gi ketot. Anine ketot. Bebeshko kamigo kaya gi ketot. Anine ketot kaya gi ketot. Anine ketot. Oh hi hi hi. Anine ketot kaya gi ketot. Anine ketot kaya gi ketot. Anine ketot. Bebeshko kishigo kaya gi ketot. Anine ketot kaya gi ketot. Anine ketot. Bebeshko kamigo kaya gi ketot. Anine ketot kaya gi ketot. Anine ketot. Oh hi 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 hi. Oh hi 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 hi. Oh hi 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 hi. Oh hi 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 hi. Wow. And I always remember my father. That's the way he always ended that song. What that song talks about is there are spirits that are talking to each other during that song. And one of them asks, said, what is it that they did and that sang the song? So the spirits are talking about all of us. What is it that they did when they were doing ceremony? And then the other spirit says, they were talking about the four levels of the sky. So everything that's in the universe, that's in the sky, got put back into place. And then the second answer came. They were talking about the four levels of the earth. And so all of the four levels of the earth also was put back into order. And so the question was asked, what are those humans doing in ceremony? And then the spirits, they put it all back into order. So the four levels of the sky, four levels of the earth, and it was rendered 4 times. So now, anything that you think you might have done was put back into order, and it's a powerful song. So now I'm going to hand it over to Cheryl for some concluding words. Miigwech.
Miigwech, Pebam. So everyone, this is concluding our very first virtual Cedar Healing ceremony. We're so grateful that you all were able to come out, and hope that you feel that this was beneficial for you or your families. We felt really grateful that we could offer this and still have something that we can do for each other during this time when there are so many stressors going on for so many families. And so lots of powerful prayers going out, lots of powerful songs, good medicines. And so, I don't know if there's anyone that had any other questions, or you can message us in the chat.
We're gonna talk about the washcloth.
Oh yeah, the washcloths. Thank you for reminding me. So your used cedar and your used washcloths. The unfortunately, there isn't like a best case scenario probably for a lot of people. If we were together, we would gather this all up and we would take it to where we knew there was going to be a fire for a sweat, and we would burn it. If you have a chance to do that where you live at, if you have a fire pit where you live, if there's a place where you could make a fire and burn it, that would be wonderful. If you can't, if there is a way that it could biodegrade somewhere, well, I guess that would be the next best case scenario. If there's nothing else that you can do, I guess you would have to put it in your garbage. I don't know, but hopefully this was one of the things that we could not figure out a really good solution for. If there was like somebody who wanted to volunteer and drive around and get everybody's washcloths so we could take them out to the sweat fire, that would be good. But
yeah, the cedar can just get returned outside. That's okay.
Right. And any leftover cedar. I mean, hopefully you can use the cedar tea to drink and for other things, but in the same way, if there's anything left over, cedar or cedar water, cedar tea, I would take it and put it out by a tree somewhere. Along with your tobacco, if you haven't burned it in a fire or used it in a pipe. I know Paybom had talked about if there was any extra medicines, boiling some so you could breathe it in, or making some tea. Try to use everything to the fullest that we can and not ever waste.
I know I kind of was cheap with the medicine, so they might not have a lot left.
It probably was exactly what we would have put. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I wasn't being cheap, but not on purpose. It was just hard to know how much of everything to give because this was our first time. So constructive criticism is welcome. If there's anything that we didn't do, or if there's anything that we could have had more of, probably I didn't think about, but with the stage we should have had double the amount so that you could do it before and after, but we're learning.
It looks like maybe Julie, oh no, good, Julie's here. And I just wanted to acknowledge Julie because she wrote in the chat that this was a very first healing ceremony for her. And so I'm really grateful that you were able to come, and I hope that it was a positive experience for you, Julie. And you're always welcome. So was there any other questions or comments? And if, like Paybom had said, if you have food or a meal, that's usually what we do afterwards, share food and put a spirit dish out.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much. This is so beautiful.
You could probably stop recording. Cecina